Hey guys, this week we are talking about tips and tricks for Vegas virgins, when it's best to pay your markers off, and so much more, so stick around. This episode is sponsored by TravelZork Travel. Learn more at TravelZorkTravel.com.
Welcome to the Crap Vegas Podcast.
Vegas, here we come.
Vegas!
Here are your hosts, Chris and Josh.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode number 79 of the Crap Vegas Podcast. I am Chris. He's Josh. Josh, what's new out on the West Coast today?
Well, Chris, we're actually recording this on a Friday again, which is unusual for us. We're a little late because I went off. Can you guess where I went?
I mean, I know the answer, but if I was just a casual listener, I would say Leavenworth, because that's the only place you go.
Experience all things Bavarian in Leavenworth, Washington. All year long, the town hosts festivals and events the whole family will enjoy. Tour a local
sure as hell does, because you're there every week.
Or check out the art scene. And no matter what time of year it is, outdoor enthusiasts can participate in the best of what Mother Nature has to offer.
Visit crapvegas.com/Leavenworth and save 25% off our Airbnb that we have.
No, I was actually at the ocean. I was at Cannon Beach, Oregon, which is a fantastic place to go. One of our favorite beaches on the upper West Coast. Upper West Coast? Northwest, West Coast? Whatever we are. Anyway, it was a lot of fun. So that's the reason we're recording a little late. But, Chris, that gave us a chance to talk first round NFL draft.
Oh, did it?
Yes, it did. What did you think?
Thank God.
Any thoughts on the first round?
I did love seeing Shedeur Sanders drop out of the first round. Couldn't happen to a nicer person, so that was kind of interesting. My Kentucky Wildcats had one player drafted in the first round, Maxwell Hairston, a cornerback, went to the Buffalo Bills, which actually I think is a terrific landing spot for him. Right. Because, I mean, what a great team to land on. One of his old teammates, Ray Davis, is a running back there. Yeah, it was kind of fun watching it, but I didn't think there was any real huge surprises yesterday.
No, but because we're a Vegas podcast, did you hear who went to the Raiders?
I did not. Who did?
Ashton Genty from Boise State, the Blue Field. I think, are they the Buffaloes? I don't know what they are. What are they? Boise State, whatever they are. Anyway.
Who pays attention to Boise State? They got a blue field, though. That's all.
Yeah, they do have a blue field, right. As a former Seahawk, Pete Carroll guy, I think this is a fantastic spot for him. And I think the Raiders, it's a great place for him to land. Fantasy-wise, you could see him being in the first round fantasy running back pick. Keep that in mind for the draft.
I mean, Vegas, that's where the good players go to die. So a great place for him.
There you go. Anyway, that's what's going on with me. How about you?
No, not much on my side, man. Just been extremely busy recently. Josh knows I got a lot going on in my personal life right now, business-wise, that is taking up way too much of my schedule. I'm literally working 2 40-hour jobs right now, it feels like. And I'm sure long-term it's going to be a great idea, but short-term, gosh, this has been a nightmare so far.
There's a little pain that comes with that gain, you're saying?
The money doesn't just come in freely, Josh. You got to earn it sometimes.
Hopefully there will be some gain.
We hope so. Okay, so let's tell people how to get a hold of us, Josh. You can send us an email. That's podcast@crapvegas.com. You can join us over on our Facebook page. It's crapvegas.com/Facebook. You can join us over on Twitter.
X.
See, I remembered to leave a pause today.
You did?
He's at Vegas Duffy. I'm at Small Whale 13, or the show page is at Crap Vegas. Or the easiest way and the most fun way and the best way and the most lucrative way for us is for you to go over to Patreon. That is patreon.com/crapvegas. We still offer that 1-week trial. So go on over there, check it out for free. See if you like it. If it's worth it, stick around. If it's not, then just give us the middle finger and walk away.
And as a matter of fact, now that you mentioned it, Chris, we had that person that you shamed last episode because they didn't sign up after their 1-week trial ended, and they came back and signed up.
So please sign up, cancel. I'll shame you on the next episode, and then you join.
So thank you guys for your support. Those are great ways to reach us. We try and be as responsive as we can on all of our channels. Some more active than others, but we try to do our best.
Absolutely. Previous episode feedback, Josh. We got an email from Jessica. Jessica said, "It was so fun hearing about Josh's last trip out to Vegas. It sounds like he had a ton on his plate the whole time he was there. I've been listening since episode 1, and hearing Josh specifically evolve from a craps player to a slot and VP DGen has been very entertaining and surprising. 2 questions for you guys." Okay, you're up first, Josh. It says, for Josh, do you think your move away from craps to slots and VP is a permanent change in gambling habit?
Great question, Jessica, and thank you. I've actually been thinking about that. I hope not. I love slot machines. I really do enjoy that part of gambling. And I'm really growing to love video poker, but I miss craps. So I'm trying to figure out a way that I can kind of get some of both and still get the treatment that I kind of like as a craps player and comps and that kind of stuff that come with that, but maybe not quite so much, but get my craps fix in because I miss that. Not just because it's the show and that kind of thing, but I really actually missed that. That was what I loved as a gambler. And so I kind of want to get back more into that. So I'm working through trying to figure that out.
Okay. And she had a question for me. It says, for Chris, do you think you will ever follow Josh's lead, or do you think craps will always be number one? She finishes with, you guys are amazing and I absolutely love the show. Take care, Jessica. To answer your question, no, I don't think I'll ever go down the path as much as Josh has. Craps is still my number one. It's always my number one. And in fact, like when I go to my local property, which I haven't been there in a little while, but when I go there, 99% of what I do is craps. I play a little slots occasionally, like, maybe $500 or $1,000 through. I've started playing a lot more video poker there instead of slots.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was coming up with one thing, I do see myself more on future trips playing more video poker because I'm starting to enjoy it more, especially at higher denomination. Like I don't have any interest in playing single line $5,
I don't think
video
I could.
poker.
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
But if we're talking like $30 Ultimate X with, 3 lines and stuff like that, that does interest me. And honestly, when Josh and I go to Vegas next month, I would much rather see us run that slot money through high limit video poker than I would the slot machines.
Right.
Because I do think that there's a little less variance on that side. Even playing Ultimate X, it's not as high variance wise as playing like Huff and Puff, $30 to spend.
Right.
Because yes, you may hit a jackpot for 12 grand once every 3,000-4,000 times that you spend. I don't know, maybe. But at the same time, it feels like it's a little bit more consistent in the return on video poker. And especially playing Ultimate X, Josh, you do have that possibility of a massive hit. If you're playing 3-line dollar, I mean, there's absolutely no reason. I mean, you can't hit one. I mean, theoretically, you could hit something for 120,000. But I mean, there's a big gamut of ways that you could win, especially when we're talking about with multipliers. So for me, that's what I'd like to see is more video poker, a lot less slots, and more craps for you, getting you over to the tables more.
Yeah, I agree. And question for you, though. What do you think about the fact that, at least my understanding is that if you're playing video poker, the tier credits you accumulate don't vary depending on the type of video poker you play at most places. So Ultimate X, I think you're getting the same. So you're increasing your variance, your volatility at least, playing Ultimate X while not earning any more tier credits than you would playing some less volatile version. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think you're 100% correct. I mean, some casinos like Caesars Properties, they just tell you, look, $10 in gives you 1 tier credit, as opposed to $5 in gives you 1 tier credit on a slot machine.
Right.
Now, MGM's a little bit trickier with that because they assign like each machine has its own rating on how much you have to play to get a point. And then Venetian isn't as straightforward when it comes to all that stuff. But in general, I think my response to your question, Josh, is I don't really care how many tier credits I'm earning. I'm not.
Yeah.
I've already hit Diamond for the year. I'm not going to hit Chairman's. I think we've talked about in previous episodes. I have my best offer I've ever had coming into this next trip because of that slot heavy trip I had last time where I just played through a lot. But I really don't care if it cuts back in half back to the normal. I'd rather just do what I enjoy, hit the craps tables as much as I can. The downtime, playing video poker and enjoying a nice bottle of Fiji, maybe a drink every once in a while. That sounds a lot more entertaining to me because you and I have both felt it, Josh, where yes, you can get this amazing run on something like that NFL slot machine that we both had really good success with.
Right.
But we also had the opposite side where, at least in my case, I went through 5 figures on that machine without a bonus and just drained it thinking it's coming because I got that in my mind that I was going to get a bonus soon.
Up there,
Yeah, perceived progression, as Josh likes to call it. But no, I mean, so that doesn't happen as much on a video poker machine. It would be really weird to run through like 10 grand on a VP machine in 10 minutes. I mean, that just really doesn't happen.
Whereas it can, on as you said, even at $20 a pull, I mean, you can run through that really fast. So really fast. I like that thinking. I just was curious if the fact that the tier credit accumulation didn't change on games, and I'm with you. I want to be less focused on tier credits and more focused on just enjoying whatever it is I'm playing.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Josh. And it stinks sometimes, but at the same time, you got to play the way that makes you happy.
Right.
If my offer cuts down a little bit, if there's one thing I've learned, I will always have a nice room available to me no matter where I go.
Yes.
I'll always have I'll always have my meals covered. I'll always have transportation. All we're really talking about is an extra $1,000 in slot play or something. And does that really matter at the end of the day? No, if it did, I wouldn't go to win at all.
Yeah.
We also received an email from Derek. Derek said, you guys talked about tier credit earnings affecting offers last episode and how tier credits earned through spending at the property likely won't impact offers. I had no idea that was the case, and it explains a ton about my offers. I don't usually gamble a ton, but my wife and I spend a lot while there at the spa and dining, and my status rose, but I never got decent offers, and it frustrated me. Does your tier level not offer any benefits from an offer standpoint? Great show. Keep up the good work.
I'm not 100% sure on that, Derek. Thanks for the question, first of all, but I do think your tier status does allow you to have certain offers, I think, and it varies by whatever property and things like that. I mean, sometimes you get complimentary upgrades and all that kind of stuff, and depending on your status, you do get comped rooms. So there may be a status that you reach that gives you 1 or 2 comped rooms a year or something like that. So there are benefits that come with the tier status, but that's separate from the benefits that you earn as a gambler.
Yeah, I agree with Josh. I think he hit it perfectly. You will get like 1 free night stay for hitting this level, or another free night stay for hitting this level. All right, and yeah, your status may give you an upgrade on the base room type that you book if you use that benefit at certain properties. But overall, no, your actual gaming offers have absolutely nothing to do with your tier. Put it this way. Let's say that I don't go back to win at all this year, and I haven't been there. So I go from being black status to no status.
Which is me.
Which is Josh. We're going to get the same exact offer that we got a year ago, pretty much. We're going to get the free nights, the free game, the free gift card offer. All that stuff is still going to be there. It doesn't matter that we're red instead of black. We're still going to get the exact same offer. Our tier level gets us the extra transportation or the move over to the tower suite side when we're there, stuff like that. But it really doesn't get us anything from an actual offer standpoint.
Yeah, and I think, and we've kind of touched on this before, I think that the lower level player that you are, lower level gambler that you are, or the less you spend as a gambler, maybe is a better way to look at it, the more important your tier level is. So for people like, me and Chris, who are we play at a higher level, our tier level doesn't matter very much. We're going to get what we get based on our play. But if you're a lower playing gambler, if you're playing at lower levels, that tier level is important because you do get those benefits that come with whatever tier that is.
Yeah, like things like no resort fees. I mean, that's a big thing that you can get at a Caesars property when you hit diamond status. And those room upgrades. Maybe you get $100 dining credit. That's not part of your gaming offer, but you earned effectively a nice meal just by hitting that tier. But it's a one-time thing. It's not, recurring every time you visit. So it's a little bit different. Other than that, Josh, the only thing else I wanted to mention is that you told me we had a little feedback on the wheel from last week.
Yes, we sure did, Chris. I shouldn't say the wheel was chastised a bit for not understanding that the Wrestling Observer is actually a thing. And, the wheel was kind of making light of the wrestling observation party thing that was going on.
A bunch of nerds sitting around watching wrestling together, talking about it.
So the Wrestling Observer, the Wrestling Observer is a newsletter, like blog, newsletter, website, whatever, that's been around since like 1980. And so for people that are really into wrestling, like the Wrestling Observer is a big thing.
Okay, so it's still just a bunch of nerds sitting in a room talking.
Well, I was chastised.
Happens to be, okay.
Well, the wheel was chastised.
Glad people pointed that out. That clarity is extremely important to me.
A related thing is apparently micro midget wrestling at the Nerd in downtown.
Are you allowed to say that word anymore? Are you allowed to still call them midgets?
It's a thing at the Nerd bar. Don't ask me. Anyway, It's a thing. I'm with you on that, but it is what it is. But it is a thing that goes on at the Nerd bar in Las Vegas all the time, exclusive of. I mean, it doesn't have anything to do with WrestleMania.
Okay, well, good to know, Josh. I'm very
People are
glad
actively
that you
participating in the wheel.
Okay, well, let's keep it going. Okay, about a month ago, or maybe a little bit more than that, Josh, on our social media platforms, we posted a question targeting ideas for new visitors in Vegas. What should Vegas virgins know before they go? Whether it's tips or tricks or warnings, unexpected things, all that stuff. And I know we got a bunch of feedback, so I thought it'd be fun to talk through some of it.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, so I'm going to run off through some of the comments that we received, Josh, and get your feedback on some of this as we go. You ready?
Okay. Yep.
First one, and this came up a lot. A lot of people said when you first get there, don't go too hard. Take it easy on the gambling. Take it easy on the drinking. Pace yourself. It's a long trip.
So I get that, but as someone that tends to, I mean, like when I used to go, and still this is true, if I go with my buddies and kind of a different, the golf trip or whatever, we usually go pretty hard the first day and then take it easy the second day kind of thing. So I get that, but at the same time, if you're someone that wants to go to Vegas and party in whatever way that means to you, then you might as well start before the plane touches down.
Man, I'm with you, Josh. I mean, I understand it. When you have multiple days, you shouldn't go too crazy the first day or you're going to ruin it the rest of the trip. But man, even now, as somebody that goes to Vegas way too much, the first day when you first land is the most excited you're going to be for the whole weekend that you're there, or the whole week that you're there. That's when you haven't lost any money yet. The trip is fresh.
Right.
Everything's great. Nothing's gone wrong yet. It's just everything's in front of you. You can look forward to so many things, the dinners and the shows and the gambling. I have a tendency to go much harder on my first day and then slowly come down the curve as the trip goes on. At least that's the way I operate, but I completely understand why people would do it the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, I get if you go way too hard and I've done this and it kind of ruins the following day. You're too hungover, you're too whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You can't even enjoy the following day and you've lost a day of your Vegas trip. I get that too. So maybe, there's something to be said for pacing yourself, but don't limit the fun you're going to have.
I agree, 100%. Another comment. Everything is farther away than it looks. 100% true. And brings up the question in my mind, Josh, what is the longest you think you've ever walked in Vegas? Like what 2 properties or 2 items do you think is the longest walk you've ever made?
Well, I think we mentioned this before, but I think when I walked from, Center Strip, wherever it was, to the pawn shop, to the gold and silver pawn shop during the Pawn Stars heyday at the beginning of that show, I think that's probably the farthest that I've ever walked.
I mean, it's got to be. I mean, I can't imagine anything else. But at the same time, I'm thinking like, okay, if I'm on the Strip, and let's say I'm staying on the south end of the Strip, and I'm at MGM Grand on that corner. If I look down the Strip way off in the distance, I can see, Wynn, Venetian Palazzo down there and think that's pretty close and make that walk. And I think for me, I've walked all the way from Mandalay Bay to Wynn before. Way too far. Don't do that again. But I've done that. But you going to the pawn shop, it's not like you can see it out the window and you're like, oh, it's just right there. I mean, it's not even visible.
You talk about things being, farther away than they appear, though. I mean, again, when I went to the Super Bowl last year, trying to walk to Allegiant Stadium from Planet Hollywood, that was much more of a hike than I thought it was going to be. And I got lost.
Absolutely. I mean, we've made walks like that together going to Allegiant that were just pretty crazy. Josh, I think the big one that I hear about a lot of people making this mistake, and I think I probably did 15, 20 years ago as well, is a lot of people staying at like Caesar's Palace right there think that Rio is very convenient.
Oh, because you can see it out the window, right?
Yeah,
it's right across the freeway.
You look at your windows right there. It is not very convenient.
So, I think that's a great tip for Vegas people. I mean, and I've had, when I go with my golfing buddies, and sometimes we'll be staying at Paris, we're going over to Cosmo, and my friend who doesn't know Vegas geography very well will say, should we take a cab? No, you can walk from Paris to Cosmo. That is something you can do.
Did I ever tell you about the time my ex-girlfriend made me take a cab going from Cosmo to Planet Hollywood?
That rings a bell, yeah. You gave the guy a nice tip, as I remember.
Oh, I did, because he looked like he absolutely wanted to smack me across the face when I said that.
What's your, if you were giving advice to a Vegas virgin as far as how far you could walk, how would you describe that? Like, when should you take a cab versus walk?
I would say anything more than, well, it depends on the time of year.
Yes,
if we're talking summer and it's 110 degrees out, I would say no more than 2 blocks, period.
Okay.
That's as far as I'm going.
Right.
Especially if I have to cross the street, because that's going to get even worse.
Yeah,
I would say in the fall, spring, that sort of thing, 3-4 blocks. Let's not go much farther than that.
Like if you're talking just properties, I mean,
like I'd say, okay,
Bellagio,
you can go from
Cosmo.
You can go from South Strip to Mid Strip. You can go from mid to north. Don't go from south to north.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Even, I mean, as you're saying south to mid, I'm thinking, I don't want to go from Mandalay Bay to Planet Hollywood very often. I mean, you can do by train.
No, I mean, I don't want to either. I would also say don't try to walk from North Strip downtown.
Right.
You might get killed while you're at it. So I mean,
that is something to be aware of too. Depending on where you're walking, you've also got the safety factor.
Yes, there are many places. I'm sure we could talk about that for a long time. The places that aren't very safe, but the North Strip is not the safest place, and especially once you get up near Sahara and that whole area, don't be walking around outside, especially at night. Okay, how about, Josh? Beware of resort fees when booking your room. Parking fees if you have a car.
Yes, that is a good. I think that's a good thing for Vegas newbies and Vegas virgins and stuff. Just be aware of that. There are going to be fees attached to everything: service fees on food, parking fees, resort fees. Just that's everything. Kind of goes with the territory.
You're going to pay a
right?
resort fee and pay for Wi-Fi at the same time somehow. Some places, it's ridiculous how much they nickel dime you. And I'm sure, Josh, there are a lot of people taking their first trip to Vegas. They book a room and they see a $29 price tag on this, Excalibur room. And then they get there and realize that room cost $89 for the night by the time you tack in resort fee and tax. Yeah, I'm sure
you hear about that when you look at, Reddit or whatever, you see people like that, where did my cheap room go kind of stuff.
Oh, exactly. That same person recommended planning a splurge night where you have a nice meal and see a show.
I love that idea. And, as my kind of Vegas visits have evolved, I'm doing more of that. And I think you are too. We're doing more excursions and maybe, I don't know if less gambling, but we're planning different things in. And I think that's a great idea, especially for a new person. You want to go and see some of the stuff that makes Vegas special, and some of those splurges are part of it.
And I would say, I know this came up from a couple people. I didn't put it on my list, Josh, but it reminded me. I would be careful about over planning your first trip or two. I think a lot of people get in the habit, it's a new place I haven't been before. So they plan all these shows and all these dinners.
Yeah.
And then you kind of lose the ability to just see something out there that's unique and new and do it, because now your whole day's planned when there might have been a better option for you once you get out there. A lot of people talk about making like dinner reservations and stuff. In general, unless it's like a crazy busy weekend, like this is March Madness and you're trying to get into the best restaurant in town, it's not that hard to get dinner reservations at a really good restaurant with an hour's notice.
It's not, but I think that especially if you're a larger group or that kind of thing,
that's a different story.
Yeah, but I think there's something to be said for making a reservation. If there are special places you want to go, I agree with you on not over planning, but at the same time, plan a few things.
Okay, I agree.
Yeah,
like one or two things a day. Yeah.
Right.
And then everything else just as is.
Yeah, because you might have partied hard that first night and who knows how you're going to feel the second day.
I agree. We got a tip for the ladies, Josh, to leave the high heels at home. And when I hear that, my question for you is, what do you think is your preferred dress in Vegas? Because you see everything.
I like the ones that go up mid-thigh.
Okay, good to know. Yeah, I wasn't specifically talking about that, but I understand where you're going.
You said a dress.
That's true. You see people that are dressed in the nicest suits and stuff that you'll ever see. You'll see people wearing bathrobes on the casino floor. What is your preferred style when you're in Vegas? Are you more casual, more dressy? What are you?
Well, and if anybody's seen me, I tend to wear shorts, not cargo shorts, but like golf type shorts, khaki type shorts, and oftentimes, most likely, tennis shoes during the day, and a Tommy Bahama type shirt is my usual.
I don't know if I've ever seen you outside of a Tommy Bahama shirt before.
Occasionally, you might see me in a t-shirt, but that's it.
It's pretty rare. It is.
At nighttime, I'll throw on jeans and put on dark shoes, black or brown, depending on, the situation. And sometimes an Oxford type shirt, button up shirt.
Yeah.
That's as dressy as I tend to go. Rarely, very rarely will I bring a pair of slacks and a jacket. I don't tend to, that's why evenings at Wynn don't fit me as well very often anymore. I'm just not.
That's probably true.
I don't have the fashion. I'm not a clothes horse. I didn't get that gene.
See, I don't know, Josh. For me, I'm a little different. I usually dress up a little bit more than you do when I'm out there.
You do?
Not so much because I'm trying to like impress anybody or anything like that. I think it's just because that's what I typically wear every day anyways.
Yeah.
I don't wear shorts too terribly often. It just doesn't come up.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm typically wearing some sort of khaki pant, maybe a jean, depending on what's going on. I do wear a lot of button-up shirts. It's pretty common for me.
Yeah.
And especially if I'm going to a place like Wynn, I try to bring a sports coat with me when I go.
Now that you're a little
evenings,
slenderer.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it also looks better on me now, too.
Right.
But at the same time, it feels like in the evenings at Wynn, a sport coat,
Yeah.
I'm not saying
You
it's
fit in, yeah.
mandatory.
Right, but you
if
fit-
you're
you fit
trying
in a
to
little.
blend in a little bit better, that's probably what you should be wearing.
Yeah. I was going to say that now that you're a little slenderer, it's easier. You have nicer. But on the other hand, going back to the NFL draft, Chris,
Yes.
here's a question for you. Out of the first 17 draft picks in the NFL draft, the first round of the NFL draft, how many weighed under 215 pounds?
I'm going to say 3.
One
Wow.
wide receiver, the guy that I think went to Arizona. The only one in the first 17 picks that weighs under 215 pounds. So that gives hope to all of us that
It
weigh a little
does.
more than that.
Yeah, no, they might be 10 inches taller than you.
You had to go
but,
there, didn't you?
I mean, beyond that, that's pretty much the same, right?
Right, exactly. Anyway, I threw us off there.
Okay, a couple more to get through real quick, Josh. Drink more water than you'd ever think necessary. 100% agree. You're in the desert. You need to drink as much water as you humanly possibly can.
And I believe there is water in all of the drinks that I drink,
Yes.
whether they're
Yeah,
pink
probably a
drinks
little
or
bit, yeah.
sodas or anything. There's water in all of those things. So
Especially if you get ice in the drink.
yeah, keep hydrated. I would say don't necessarily drink water, but keep hydrated.
Yes, I agree 100%.
How's that?
Somebody warns about the weed smell. They said if that's something that you're sensitive to, just be aware. You can't get away from it. And especially it says it's much worse downtown.
Yes, and that's something sometimes I forget about when I think about kids in Vegas and families
Yes.
and that kind of thing. You get it less at the higher end properties. Not to say you won't, but you.
Oh no, I've had that issue
smelled it
in a wind
occasionally.
room before.
Right. Yeah, it's there, but it's less the the kind of the higher up you go. But that and the smoke. Just want to warn people that are new to Vegas, especially with families, but really anybody. It's like be aware of the weed smell, be aware that you're going to smell smoke, and just build that into your thought process.
I agree 100%. Now, this is interesting, Josh. We got back-to-back comments from people on suggestions, and they're literally opposite of each other. So let's
Okay.
see what side you fall on. The first person says, get the bus pass for the duration of your trip. It's $20 for 3 days, and you can ride the Deuce up and down the strip and downtown all you want. And it always showed up within 10 minutes. We never felt uncomfortable or unsafe. Next comment. Avoid shuttles and public transportation such as buses and the monorail. It can save you a little money, but it's a waste of time and can be dirty or dangerous. Instead, use Uber, Lyft, taxis, limos, or walk if you want to save the money. Everything is farther than it looks, but you will see so much more by walking. Ultimately, transportation will be a small portion of a Vegas budget and isn't the place to skimp. So what side do you fall on, Josh? Save the money, public transportation, super safe, get up and down, or this is Vegas, you're spending tons of money on everything else, just take a limo or a taxi and move on.
Well, I appreciate both perspectives. I fall more into the latter. So, meaning
Yes.
you are in Vegas to have fun and your time is minimal. However long you're there, you're going to feel like it's too short. At some point, you're not going to want the trip to end. So, don't waste it on transportation just to save a buck or two, unless that's really your thing. If you're trying to do Vegas on the cheap and you don't mind waiting for things like the bus, then go for it. But that's not how I want to spend my time. Now, that said, I like the monorail as a kind of a tourist activity, not necessarily as a way to get from place to place very often, but like if you have kids, my kid used to love to ride the monorail, that kind of thing. So if you're doing it for something like that, for the entertainment value of whatever it is, if you want to ride the Deuce for the entertainment value, but
Go crazy.
no, I mean, I'm not someone that's don't skimp on transportation. Like take a cab to get wherever you're going or an Uber to get wherever you're going so you can get to where your destination is faster.
I agree. And look, I would even say if you can afford it, if it's your first trip to Vegas, book a limo, have it pick you up at the airport, impress your partner that's with you, have them drive it down the strip so you can see all the lights and see the people. Like go all out that first trip when it comes to that stuff. Don't take the bus. Really go crazy that first trip, seeing everything from the best light possible. You'll appreciate it long term. Couple quick hitters, Josh, that we also had before we get off of this topic. One person says never book through third-party sites, always book direct. And I 100% agree with that.
I think it depends. I mean, I use third-party sites for various travel from time to time. It depends. I think in Vegas, it's safer to use the hotels themselves. But if you're booking through, whether it's a travel agent like Travels or Travel, or whether it's a company like Priceline or Expedia, there are advantages to different ways to go. And it kind of depends on what experience you're looking for in a trip. But just be aware of oftentimes properties are maybe not going to be as accommodating if you've booked
Correct.
through, especially an online place like a Priceline, things like that. If something
Yeah,
goes
hotels.com,
wrong,
something like that.
right? If you need to stay, check out later, check in early, they're less likely to accommodate you. I think there's pluses and minuses to each. I mean, I use Priceline. I have used Priceline for various things. It depends what you're going for.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say that especially in the Vegas market, you're usually going to get the best price just booking direct through the hotel. There's usually not a big savings to be had when you're using a third-party site because they're aware of those sites and there's no reason for them to be higher. Sometimes when you book through the hotel directly, you get bonus perks that you might not have gotten if you go through a company like Priceline or something. Like Caesars, for instance, will make sure that you get free internet and you get a cancellation policy that's better than if you booked on a third-party site. But just as somebody that travels for business a decent amount, they're always going to walk the customer that's on a third-party site well before a paying guest that booked direct. So if there's any sort of overbooking situation, your room's not available, you're the one that's going to get hit the hardest if you didn't book through them directly. And sometimes they won't even be able to help you. They're going to have to redirect you to a third party to get assistance rather than just talking to the agent at the front desk. So I don't see a lot of benefit there. But a couple other things, always use your player's card, Josh. I mean, yes, absolutely.
Yep.
Always use your player's card for everything.
Yep. And don't worry if it's the last day of your trip. You hear talk about
that stuff.
That kind of stuff. Maybe or maybe not, it makes a difference on the margin, but just use your card.
Yep. Charge everything you can to the room. Again, agree.
Oh, yeah. Because you never know at the end of a trip when you may have gambled more than you thought you did or whatever, and you can get some of those charges taken off, that kind of thing, but it also helps your status, all that kind of stuff.
And just along those same lines, this goes together, talk to a host before you leave so you can potentially get a little bit taken off, a ton. You never know. It never hurts to ask.
Yep, never does. It's a great thing. Even if you don't think you played much at all, just pop in. They may give you $40 off something. Who knows?
And last thing, Josh, there's a bunch more, but one I thought was worth mentioning. It says, make sure you play 6 to 5 blackjack because 6 is bigger than 3 and 5 is bigger than 2.
I can't argue with that.
I mean,
more numbers, more ways to win.
Exactly. Yeah, 000 roulette is far better than double. Think of all those extra
there's
zeros
another
you can
zero,
win on.
right? Exactly. That kind of feeds in maybe, Chris, to one last point I would make for Vegas virgins. There's a fine line between going and having fun, but if you're going to gamble, I get the playing games you've never played before, but try and learn a little bit about the games, maybe even as you go. Just don't go in blindly and lose. I guess it's just don't go in blindly and lose all your money the first night playing something, playing drunk on a game you had no clue about, that kind of thing.
I agree. There's free lessons on the casino floor all the time at most properties.
Yeah.
All you got to do is look. They'll have big signs. If you go to the Players Club, you can ask. Get out there, take a quick lesson if it's a game you haven't played before. They'll walk through the game, deal you hands. You'll get to see exactly how it goes. Go online to the Wizard of Odds and read some of the stuff on there if you need to, but have a vague understanding of what you're doing before you get to the table.
Yep.
Okay. After the break, we'll answer some listener questions and more, so stick around.
Chris, did you hear that the location for Zorkfest 2025 has been announced?
I did. I got an email the other day about it.
I got an email as well, and I had some inside information too. It's going to be at the M Resort, which I thought was an interesting choice. I don't know about you, but first of all, I've never been there, and I'm excited to go. But at first I thought, wait a minute, that's not on the Strip. It is in Las Vegas, but I was a little kind of not quite sure what to think of it. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought about a couple things, Chris. The more I thought, first, it'll be an interesting place for me, and maybe even you, if you can make it, to go to Zorkfest for the first time, to see the property. I don't have any pressure if I don't want to play at the levels we usually play. I don't have to, and I can see this new property that people do rave about. I think it's a fun thing for Zorkfest because it gets everybody there and, for good or bad, kind of traps everybody there. Like, you can go, they have a shuttle that goes to the Strip, or you could Uber or things like that if you really want to get out. But it'll be really nice because all of the Zorkfest people, the miles and points people, the travel and loyalty people, the casino people will all be there. And I think for the most part, we'll be interacting together, maybe more than some of the other places. So I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see the property. So it's going to be for everybody. It's going to be December 5th through the 7th, Friday, December 5th, 2025 through the 7th, 2025 at M Resort. And you can learn more at zorkfest.com. Pretty easy. And if you're someone that usually gets comped at other properties in Las Vegas, there's a good chance that M and the team at Zorkfest will be able to match your comp offers, not necessarily free play and things like that, but I know they're going to try and get people that are usually comped on the Strip comped at M Resort, that kind of thing, if they can. So that is an option for you. Like, I don't have any status at M, which I think is Penn Entertainment. I don't know about you, but so I'm going to be depending on the way the process is set up at Zorkfest to match and get me comped. I'm expecting I'll be comped there. I better be. And anyway, I am really excited about it. I think it probably fits better with the Travel Zork Travel brand. It's a little nicer property. Obviously, it's going to be, I think, a nicer property than Horseshoe last year. Not that there was anything wrong with Horseshoe, but I think it's going to be upscale from that. So I'm excited about it. One key thing I did want to mention, I think Michael has tickets for Coffee Dice going on sale on May 1st. He wanted to make sure that lined up with this release so people had a chance to do it. So Thursday, May 1st, tickets for Coffee Dice will be on sale. That's going to be a lot of fun. It was done at the last, I think, 3 years or so. It's been a big hit, lots of fun. So I'm excited about that.
Awesome. I'm sure everybody will have a terrific time. And again, if you want to get some tickets or get registered, that's all over at Zorkfest, ZORKFEST.com. We are back. We got a couple listener questions to answer, Josh. Got an email from Landry about paying off markers. Landry says, let's say you have a line of credit or obtain a marker from the casino and took out a few grand. Is there a difference between paying it off before leaving or waiting for them to send you a statement? My thinking is if you always pay off the debt right before leaving, the casino may feel you didn't really gamble enough if you have cash to pay it off. On the other hand, if comps are purely based on table and slot play, then it wouldn't matter. Do you have any feedback about this? Thanks, Landry.
Well, thanks, Landry. Great question. And from my understanding, it doesn't matter. The casino doesn't care if you pay it off before you leave or if they send you the marker as far as the way they're going to treat you. I don't think it matters. As far as like their perception of you gambling more or less, that kind of thing, I think what they want to know is, did you draw at some point? What level of your marker did you draw out? So did you max out your marker at some point? They're going to be happy if you did, because they know that in some way or another you exposed yourself to that much liability, that much potential of loss, that kind of thing. As far as paying it off before you leave or not, I don't think that matters. What about you, Chris?
Yeah, I think you're right. It doesn't matter if you pay it before you go or if you get a statement in the mail and pay it. I think that's all the same. But you bring up a valid point that I would say. When I first started taking out lines of credit, I was always one of those players, and I still do this some today, but not as much, that would pay my marker off as I go throughout the trip. Because I like to, if I can reset it back to zero, I like doing that. That being said, I think it's actually in your best interest as a player long-term not to do that.
Right.
Because what they would much prefer, as Josh said, they would much prefer to see you utilize more of your line. And if you're constantly taking $5,000, paying back $5,000, taking $5,000, paying back $5,000, it's much better in their eyes if I took out 15 or 20 grand and then paid it off right before I left, because that showed them that I was utilizing most of my line. Casinos will reduce a credit line amount if they see that you're not consistently using it. They don't want you taking out more than what you're actually going to play. This isn't a situation where you say, give me 25 grand, but you only use 2 on a trip. If you do that, they will lower your line down to 5 or 10 grand because that's all you need in their eyes. So I do think it's better to wait to the end to pay everything off as you go. And the more you borrow towards the maximum line, in their eyes, that's a better thing. It's not going to impact your offers at all, but it could impact your credit line. Or if you're ever looking for an increase in the future, they want to see that you've maxed it out before they ever even consider giving you an increase.
Well, and Chris, if you don't mind my saying, I think that's one thing that happened to you early on is you wanted to increase your credit line, and whoever the casino was said, well, wait a minute, you never max out your other line anyway, your lower line anyway. Why should we give you more? So I think that's something to be aware of, right? The last thing I was thinking of, Landry, is do be aware, though, and I've run into this situation, you guys know if you've listened, it sometimes takes days or weeks or whatever for your markers to clear. And so if you have another trip coming up or something like that, just be aware that depending on when you paid the marker off, either in person or, online or however, it may take some time for the marker to clear for your next trip. So just be aware of that.
Good point. We also received an email from Marty asking us for some recommendations. He said, you guys have been killing it with show and restaurant recommendations. We have utilized your suggestions the last couple trips, and my wife has been thrilled with the choices. We have now seen Zombie Burlesque, Atomic Saloon, and Absinthe. What are 2 new show recommendations for us at this point?
Well, thanks, Marty. One of the shows that I want to see, and I think going to see on the next trip coming up, is Shin Lim at Venetian now. Now that he's at Venetian, I can get comp tickets, so I want to go do that. But I can't really recommend it yet because I haven't seen Shin Lim. I think you have. You did at Mirage once, didn't you?
Yeah, I saw it a long time ago. Yeah, I recommend Shin Lim. He's really good. Yeah, we are going to see him pretty soon, I think. I was also thinking, Josh, we've talked a lot about Mac King. If you haven't seen Mac King,
for sure.
It's a daytime show, typically at like 2 o'clock. So it's a great time in the middle of the day to break up the day. It's not very expensive. It's like $35 or $40. There's no bad seats there. It's a tiny little theater. He's a ton of fun for any age. I would recommend that. And you haven't mentioned any, but maybe consider doing a concert. I mean, there's so many good artists that come and go through Vegas. And, coming up, Josh, Backstreet Boys are back in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Mariah Carey's there, Elton John's there, in and out, Adele, Katy Perry. I mean, just everybody floats in and out of there. Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga. So many things that you can go see. And Vegas is such a fun place to see a concert.
Oh, definitely.
Marty follows up, Josh, and says, my wife wants to do a spa day on her next trip. What is the nicest spa in town? Well, you're the expert for this.
Yes. Kind of depends on what your wife is. And for me, a spa is a massage. There's other things obviously you can get at the spa. There's, haircuts and manicures and pedicures and all that kind of stuff. I can't really speak to those as much. So my favorite spa in Las Vegas is probably still going to be Wynn. It's just a beautiful, smaller facility. Aria and Canyon Ranch at Venetian are right up there. The top tier spas are going to be you're going to get great service. You're going to get a really beautiful ambiance. I think my least favorite as far as the decor right now, although it's being redone, is probably Canyon Ranch. It's very big. I think the spa at Aria is great. I've talked about it before. It's just again a bigger space, more people going through it. The one at Wynn I found to be more intimate and a little, that kind of thing. Any of the top tier property spas are going to be really nice. It just depends on what she's into, but you can't go wrong at Wynn. You can't go wrong at Canyon Ranch. You can't go wrong at Aria. I would say the one at Cosmo, but that's where I had the power outage. So my opinion went down just a smidge, but it was also great. I can understand
that. Yeah. That will take away from it. Finish was love the show, Marty. So yeah, Marty, thank you for your questions. Marty. Hopefully this helps you a little bit. And Josh, I think we just got to start charging for our recommendations at this point.
Yeah, or getting paid for them.
That's true. Patreon.com/crapvegas. What do we got new over there, Josh?
Chris, we had an amazing re-entry of the CBPBC, Crap Vegas Property Bracket Challenge made its return.
Thank God you expanded on that because your acronyms always lose me. Yeah, Josh, I looked at it. People gave us a really hard time about not finishing it very quickly, but we started that in March.
Right.
And here we are. We're following up with the second round in the Sweet 16, and it's only April, so I don't think we're that far off.
Exactly. But anyway, that's what we did on our last Patreon show was the Crap Vegas Property Bracket Challenge is back with some surprises, some Cinderella teams.
Some guests, all sorts of things.
Yeah, that's right. We had some guests too. Anyway, that's what's new on Patreon. Lots of fun over there. We try and do something special on Patreon, alternating with this show every other week. So it's a lot of fun. And we appreciate all of our new patrons. And they are...
Big thank you to Jesse A., Brendan S., Sarah R. with a KCS membership. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Bronco Bob, Cindy from Indy with a KCS membership, and Sean F. with an annual KCS membership. The best thing you can do. So thank you, Sean, and thank you everybody that signed up over the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks everybody, especially Cindy and Sean. Sean, I think, Chris, if this is the right Sean, we've got like 50 million Seans.
I know there's a bunch of Seans.
Sean,
we need to work on
that's
this.
Our moderator on the Facebook group. We got Seans everywhere. I think that this Sean is a longtime listener to the show. This is a friend of Jordan P's.
Oh, nice.
And so thank you, Sean. Yeah, you've, I think, been a long-time listener.
Oh, we appreciate that. Upcoming trips. You and I are going out to Vegas together, allegedly, Memorial Day weekend.
Yes, although I think I'm a little more prepared for the trip than you are. I don't think Chris has actually put pencil to paper. Do you still do that?
I think people still do that. I haven't done that. But no, I haven't booked a flight yet, nor have I contacted a host yet. But in my mind, it is a trip.
But it is a trip, and I will be the first 2 nights at Venetian. And Chris does not even know this yet. The second 2 nights, I'm making a return
to, I'm going to say, Sky Suites at Aria.
Come and experience all things Bavarian in Leavenworth, Washington.
You're going to the Bavarian Castle at Aria.
That's right. No, I am making a return, Chris, to Wynn.
Are you really?
I am making
so you're
a
just
return
done with
to
Arya
win
for this year, huh?
This is because we have a couple listeners that are going to be there, decided to meet up. And I thought, okay, this is an opportunity for me to not care about what I play as much anymore. I reached out to our host and said, will you take me back?
I know you don't remember me, but.
And to your point that you made earlier in the show, my offer, which is a whole bunch of resort credit, is still there. I'm getting a Tower Suites room, even though I have no status.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Yeah, transportation, all that kind of stuff. So I'll be at VP and then win.
See, I didn't know that when we discussed this earlier in the episode, but that is just absolute proof. I mean, Josh has no status at Win anymore. He's not supposed to get a Tower Suite room, shouldn't get transportation, and it's still all there.
Yep. And
So
I don't even know if
terrific.
my line of credit's set up yet. We're still there. My host didn't know if it was still active or not, but
I'm jealous now, Josh. I want to get back there soon. I was kind of hoping we'd be there on this trip together, but
well, we might be.
Here we are.
You haven't booked anything yet.
well, I could
We have to
probably
talk
do
about
one.
it.
I mean, I could potentially do one day at Win, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. We'll have to talk.
This is what I
Anyways,
get for
Josh,
springing it on you.
I know. You should have told me before. A friendly reminder to subscribe and leave a review on your favorite podcasting app, and then to visit our merch store. That's crapvegas.com/shop. Josh, I unfortunately think it is time for the big wheel.
All right, here we go. Let's spin the wheel.
It's time to spin the Crap Vegas Big Wheel. Are you ready?
You ready?
Oh, I'm so ready.
Josh, spin the wheel.
I see you still haven't repaired it yet. It's still broken.
It's still broken. Oh, interesting, Chris. Here's one.
Mhm.
Did you hear about the new show that's coming to the Paris Theater?
I did not. What's coming?
It's going to be Wheel of Fortune Live.
Oh, I feel like they do these things
I
like
know.
like it comes to all like the local casinos around town.
This
like
one's gonna be at
Price is
Paris.
Right Live and all that stuff. It's just those things
With a-
pop up.
This one's a big host, though. Mark Wahlberg is hosting Wheel of Fortune Live.
You say it's a big host. Literally, I think Mark Wahlberg does every single one of these traveling shows. I know he did Price and Right when I saw it.
Well, he's good
this
at
is
it then, I
all he
guess.
does now. No, I think it's really fun. They're always shorter. They always give out a couple random small prizes. The game's not exactly the same as it is. They bring up new contestants each time. And the big prize is never anywhere near as big as it would be at a normal show. But I mean, it's still kind of fun, but I think it really targets like 50 to 70-year-old women.
Oh, no. This
I
could be
think so.
this could be something for Vegas virgins to go see the Wheel of Fortune live.
You think so?
Well, I don't know. But anyway,
Okay.
they can win up to 10 grand. It's going to be July 11th and 12th and July 18th and 19th. There you go.
Oh, so this is not a long running thing.
No, it's part of a 60 city. It's opening a 60 city tour.
Yeah,
So
they'll
you've
probably
got
be at
2
my local
weekends.
casino in a couple weeks. I'll just have to
Probably.
give it some time. They'll come here.
Anyway, that's what's on the first spin of the wheel.
Okay, what else you got?
Let's spin the wheel. Oh, Chris, this is another one that is an RIP that I
Oh.
thought was it's been a couple weeks, but it has been since our last show, and I think it's worth mentioning the passing of Elaine Wynn, who passed
Yes.
away a couple weeks ago, age 82. Obviously, a lot of people know Steve Wynn and his rise and fall in Las Vegas, but Elaine was a huge part of not only that casino empire, the Wynn Casino Empire, but a huge philanthropist.
Yes.
And a really a major force in Las Vegas. She and Steve came in 1967, and just wanted to kind of take a minute to note her passing. Really an important part of the Las Vegas that we know and love, and her
Yes.
appreciation for kind of the luxury side of all that, and her help in the designs of the properties and things like that really can't be understated, underestimated. Did you know, Chris, I was looking at her influence on Wynn, and up until last year, she was the largest individual shareholder. You know who the new largest individual shareholder of Wynn is?
No?
Tillman Fertitta is the largest individual shareholder of Wynn. He
Oh,
holds,
joy.
he bought another 400,000 shares in April of this year when the market went down a little bit. He actually holds now, I think it's like 13% of
Wow.
Wynn. Yeah, which
I own
is
like 50
huge.
shares. What kind of percentage is that?
Not big enough, not
Not
quite
enough?
Tillman
Okay.
level.
Okay, good.
Anyway, just a big RIP to Elaine Wynn, a really important force in Las Vegas, both on the gambling side and on the philanthropic side.
Yep, sorry to hear that. Josh, anything else before we get out of here?
The last thing I would say, Chris, was there were two things that I forgot to mention about my last trip to Las Vegas that I thought were worth noting. First of all, I had Venetian room service again. It's growing on me.
Oh, good.
I had a better
it couldn't
Venetian
get worse. I mean, it had to get better, right?
It's growing on me. Still not nearly as good as Wynn, but I think like a lot of room services, if you kind of can figure out what meals are better than others, like I think their tomato soup is really good, but I had a chicken cheese quesadilla that was pretty decent. Their chicken tender things are not bad. So anyway, I wanted to say it wasn't bad. It's growing on me.
I think it's like a bad smell. If you're around it long enough, you just become immune to it. You know, you just don't even notice it anymore. And I think that's kind of what it is with their food. It's not any better than it was before, but you've just gotten used to it not being good.
It could be.
You know what it really is, Josh? You've been further away from Wynn. You haven't been there forever, so you don't even remember what good room service is like.
I will find out. The other thing, Chris, is I went outside to a pool.
Was it a European pool?
No, it wasn't. Unfortunately, it wasn't a European pool. No, our listener and friend Marilyn wanted to go out and have a little pool time. I went out and we ordered bar food, and I sat under cover for a little while and had.
Okay, so you weren't even really outside.
No, I couldn't even see the pool. I was facing the TVs at the bar. It was during the NCAA tournament time.
Now, was this at Venetian?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Okay, now did they have tables outside?
Not that I saw. There may be somewhere, but not that I saw.
Okay.
It was all.
I was just curious.
Yeah, I thought you were going to ask, was it sunny? And no, this was one of the things about Venetian is you have to time it with the sun makes everything shady for the way the Venetian faces and things. There's lots of shade. And so this was all shady. But anyway, I went outside. That's different.
Okay, well, I mean, that is the one nice thing that Wynn has at their Tower Suites pools. They have that European pool, and they have a craps table overlooking the pools.
Yeah. We'll have to try that next time we're there. I'll have to try
that. It's too hot. Nah, it's too hot this time of year. We're done with that. Ask me.
We already
November,
established
December.
you don't wear shorts. So
no, I don't. So I'll be very hot. Josh, this was a ton of fun. We hope that you all had a great time listening, and we will talk to you soon.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.
Vegas, here we come.
Thanks for listening to the Crap Vegas podcast.
Have you ever been to Vegas?
Check out all our recent news and our Vegas trip calendar by visiting crapvegas.com.
See you in Vegas.
Any thoughts on the first round?
I love seeing Shadur Sandals.
Sandals?
Sanders?
That's a resort.
That's too hard to say.
Did you hear who went to the Raiders?
I did not. Who did?
Ashton, what's his name? Ashton Gentry? Gentry?
Jenkins?
No, not Jenkins. Let me try that again. Ashton Gentry? The running back.
Again,
which,
one more
if
time.
you're Aston Gentry.
You said Aston.
Isn't it
like
Aston?
A car.
Ashton.
It's Ashton. Yeah.
It's
oh, jeez.
It's Ashton Jenkins.
We're doing great today.
Hang on, one more time. Ashton?
Yeah, Ashton Gentry. Or Genty. Now you got me saying Gentry. Holy shit. Oh my, okay. Yeah, Ashton Genty. He's a Boise State running back. I do know who he is.
Okay, hang on.
Me hopes.
Did you say me hopes?
It's me hopes. Oh, okay,
It's like Jar Jar Binks.
Oh my. Perfect.